David, what are you looking at?
Oh, Adam, found this cool track in the mud.
Oh, it's cool.
Well, I'm not sure what it is. It's the biggest rabbit track I've ever seen.
Well, David, I'm unsure what this track is, but because it is so large, I don't think it was left by a rabbit.
Hey, let's go to our wildlife lab and look at some of the resources there, and we can learn how to identify this track.
That's a great idea, and hopefully we get to the bottom of this mysterious track. Hi everyone, my name is Adam Rouse, and I'm the Program Coordinator for Wahsega 4-H Center. Today we're going to be discussing and hopefully getting to see some of the animals that inhabit the Chattahoochee National Forest. We're going to be discussing how they survive and how to identify their presence even whenever they are hiding. And we're really excited to identify the tracks that we saw earlier and discuss other components of the study of wildlife. But first, we need to know, what is wildlife? Wildlife is defined as any non-domesticated animal of an area. So, is your cat or is your dog considered to be wildlife? By the scientific definition, they are not. So what I want for y'all to do is to think of some of the animals in your area that would be considered wildlife while we go meet up with David, who has one of our animal ambassadors. Let's go.
Hi everyone. We're going to be talking about one of Wahsega's animal ambassadors, the eastern box turtle. We've got one right here. There's also one behind me, but they are eastern box turtles. This one's name is Teddy, and I'm using him because he's an example of a native wildlife in this region. Now, for wildlife, what are they trying to do in life? They are trying to survive and reproduce. How do they do that? Well, every animal has certain adaptations. Adaptations are characteristics that allow them to thrive in their habitats. All right, one of the adaptations of Teddy here is his shell. Now, Teddy, remember, is an eastern box turtle. He's got a very hard shell. The shell's made out of bones and keratin. Keratin's the same substance that your fingernails are made out of. And the purpose of this is to protect him from predators. It's a house he carries around wherever he goes. Very handy. Now, another adaptation of the eastern box turtle is their beak. Eastern box turtles are omnivores, meaning they eat plants and meat, and the beak is very sharp. He can rip off pieces of food and grind it in his mouth. A third adaptation of this guy is his feet. He's got claws on his feet, and they help him find food. Some of the things he likes to eat are snails, worms, grubs, so he can dig through the dirt and find those animals to eat. Also, box turtles live on land, so the claws are going to help him travel on land. He does not like going in the water.
Up until now, we've been looking at external adaptations of our animals. Now, we're going to be looking at their skulls and how to identify what they eat based on the skull and their teeth. One of the first things you want to look at to help identify what animal it is by looking at the size of the skull. As you can see, these two skulls are very different in their size. And with a larger head, you can assume it was a larger animal. Whereas with a smaller head, you can assume that it had a smaller body size in proportion to the head. Now we're going to be looking at their teeth and how to identify what they eat based on their teeth. The next important characteristic to look at are their teeth. The teeth of an animal tell you what they eat. With this skull, you can see 4 distinct types of teeth: incisors, canines, premolars, and molars. Incisors are useful for biting and shearing plants. Canines are used for tearing and shearing meat. Then premolars and our molars, when flat like this, are used for grinding plant matter. Seeing as this animal has all 4 types of teeth, we can tell that this animal eats plants and animals and is therefore an omnivore. This animal has very large canines, and molars are not flat like the ones before. Therefore, these molars must not be used for grinding plants, but shearing meat. Using this information, we can tell that this animal only eats meat and is therefore a carnivore. Lastly, this skull is fairly large and its teeth have incisors but no canines, and lots of flat molars used for grinding. We can tell that this animal must only eat plants and is therefore a herbivore. Using the information we've gathered so far, we can tell that this right here, that omnivore skull, is going to be a black bear. Our carnivore skull belongs to one of our bobcats, and that herbivore skull belongs to one of our white-tailed deer. Now, getting pictures and videos of animals in their natural environment can be tricky sometimes because they're skittish around people. But here at Wahsega 4-H Center, we have several trail cameras set up around the center to see animals in their natural habitat. So let's go check one of them out. As we discussed, it's really hard to see wildlife in their natural environment because they hide when us humans come bumbling through the woods making all sorts of noise. A really easy way to capture videos and pictures of animals is by using a trail camera like this one behind me. Trail cameras are motion activated and they can take pictures and videos during the daytime or even at night. And it's a non-invasive way to capture the local wildlife in your area without interrupting their behaviors during the photography or videoing.
Hi, I'm Matthew Weber, the director's son here at Wahsega 4-H Center. This is my trail camera. When I get home from school, I like to check it to see what animals have passed through the area while I am at school or sleeping.
When you're trying to identify what kind of wildlife you have in your area, one common problem is you can't see any wildlife. Animals are very elusive. They're a lot better at hiding than we are. So here's another technique. Look for their tracks. That's their footprints. You want to look for a sandy or muddy area, and you have a lot better chances of seeing tracks than seeing the actual animals. Now here's one little trick to help you differentiate. You have two groups of animals, canines, which are dogs, foxes, wolves, and felines, which are house cats, mountain lions, or bobcats. One important difference in their tracks, as they are similar, is the felines can retract their claws. So when they're moving, when they're walking or running, they're normally going to have their claws in. So in their prints, they won't show that imprint of their claw. Other than that, because there's all types of tracks and each animal generally has a unique track, get resources from books or from the internet, pictures of different tracks, and just get out near your house or a nearby park, find a muddy area or sandy area, and start practicing identifying tracks. And you'll learn really interesting information about what kind of wildlife you have around your house. And domestic pets as well is good to practice on. Hey Adam, I think now that we've learned a little bit about wildlife and tracking, we can figure out what animal left this track.
Definitely. After looking at our field guides, we're 100% sure that what we're looking at here is a white-tailed deer track, and you can see them in our field every single night.
Oh, cool. I'm glad we don't have to worry about deer-sized rabbits roaming around here.
Me too. Thank you all for joining us at Wahsega 4-H Center and learning a little bit about our local wildlife, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.